Um, Man, what's going on, everybody? I'm your host, man, John Smith, aka the Voodoo Child, aka Old School, aka the Kid, man. What else do I got? How many names I got, man? AKA John
Moscow,
Redcorn.
Moscow,
Oh,
Moscow Mule Poppy.
AKA Moscow Poppy. um, this is the four spot, and it's been a long time coming, but this is the first episode, first podcast of the four spot, and I just want to give a quick introduction on what the four spot is. The four spot is basically a sports blog that I started to give athletes their flowers while they're still here. That is important to me. It's been important to me, and it's the reason why I created this platform. Um, I have been focusing on the NBA right now before branching out. It's just me right now. But before I go any further into that, I just want to give an introduction to my co-host, Spencer Klein. The reason I'm even in this creative space today. Just want to say thank you for being here, bro.
Anytime. Glad to be here. What you got going on is very it's different, and I like it. And it's something that, especially with the passing of Kobe Bryant about a year ago, something that really needs to be taken into account.
Yeah.
With athletes going forward.
Right.
So with that being said, I think we should get into two of the athletes that we're getting into today.
Yeah. Just real quick, to explain like the four spot and everything. Like, man, like you said, we lost the gym, man. We lost Kobe Bean Bryant, and that still weighs heavy. His year passing just was like a couple weeks ago. It had been a year.
Oh yeah.
And
like a few weeks ago.
That was kind of the trigger for me, because I see, in my own opinion, I see a lot of negativity that is spreaded throughout the media platforms about athletes, despite what they do in their separate lives outside of the basketball court. People tend to misconstrue words. They tend to misconstrue things that they say and make a different narrative and turn that into an article. And they turn that into making people want to read into it. And that makes for people read stuff like that. They read drama. They like drama and stuff like that. But that's not the atmosphere that I want to create with this platform. I want it to be nice, authentic, organic, a positive atmosphere where people can actually read good things about athletes and actually tune in to their lives in the most positive manner, instead of what they are doing wrong. And I think that's a good segue to the athletes that we're talking about today.
I think so.
Speaking of doing wrong, the people that we're going to be talking about is Kyrie Irving and Bradley Beal. Those are our two topics today. And we're going to keep it short. We're not going to keep anybody long. We're just going to make sure, they get their flowers. That's important to me. I want them to know that they have fans out here who actually really care about what they do on the court, and the positivity that they bring in their communities, the positivity that they bring outside of the basketball court, and the infectious personalities that they have. So Kyrie Irving, man, he missed 11 games. The NBA world went crazy. And I'm just like, guys, relax. It's Kyrie Irving we're talking about. Like he sent the text message. The rumor was that he sent the text message to his teammates. He didn't send any text messages to his coaches and stuff, that he wasn't going to be playing any games for a minute. And then he was seen at his sister's birthday party without a mask on, and
breaking COVID
breaking
regulations.
breaking the COVID protocols and stuff. But man, that man is great at what he do. And I'm not saying or anything, like I'm not giving him any passes, but mental health is real. I was watching a episode with Richard Jefferson, and he was talking about the NBA players, that organization, along with other athletes. That's the only thing. That's like the only job position that athletes don't have any days off. When they start working, it's like 82 games from the regular season. I think it starts in October and it doesn't end if you get to the championship until June. Mm-hmm. It's no days off. And even then, they still have to train and still get ready for the upcoming season. Mm-hmm. And they're not like your regular workers where you go in, work 5 days a week, and then you have the weekend off to kind of recalibrate, rejuvenate, and get ready for the next week. These dudes are on the road all day long, playing, working, and putting their bodies through strenuous amounts of physical activity just to get to a championship, man. And that takes a lot, not only on your physical body, but on your mental as well. And so that's a big, important thing to me with the day and age that we're in now with mental health, mm-hmm. and just making sure you are 100%. Mm-hmm. You can't give what you don't have, bro. Yeah. That's just what it is. Like, if he can't, you can't expect him to give the best on the court if he's not at 100% mentally.
Exactly.
You should treat, if you sprain your ankle, you're not at 100% to be able to perform, so you sit out a game. Mm-hmm. If you're not at 100% mentally, then you should be able to sit out and get yourself together to be able to get back on the court and distribute the way that you're able to distribute.
I got a question for you about specifically Kyrie Irving, right?
Talk to me.
Remember a couple of you probably know more about this than me, but back in the summer, mm-hmm. when the protests were happening and the Black Lives Matter was in the streets, mm-hmm. protesting, and I'm not sure which team it was. I believe it was the Lakers. Mm-hmm. No, it was the Celtics, specifically.
Is this while they were in the bubble?
Yes.
It was the Milwaukee Bucks.
The Bucks, that's right. I'm sorry.
Who went on the strike.
Yeah,
right?
They were the first team. And then I believe Kyrie, along with some other notable people in the NBA, mm-hmm. were in like a group chat talking about starting their own league.
Yeah.
Do you think that part of the reason why he may or may have not been as present in the past couple of weeks as he could have potentially been is because of the way the league treats its players?
No. Yeah, no. I think players want to take that role. Mm-hmm. They want to make that voice and have it known, like, yeah, I had this platform and I'm actually use it. Mm-hmm. So I think it's not pressure from the league. I think it's pressure from the players to the league. Like, you see that we support Black Lives Matter. What's your stance? Mm-hmm. Because this is where we at. And we all see that, the league is a predominantly African-American, male league. Yeah. It's all black, So you got to get behind what is selling tickets. Mm-hmm. And if they putting up the numbers and they doing what they need to do, what happens outside of the court should not matter unless it is affecting what's going on. Mm-hmm. So, and then they did the protests and, George Floyd, and then I seen through the grapevine that Kyrie Irving bought the family a home.
Yeah, I heard about that recently too, right?
Bro,
maybe last week or so.
Why are y'all worried about this man missing 11 games and not talking about the gesture? He didn't have to do that. Mm-hmm. That is one of the greatest gestures that I've seen someone do in a time of need. For him to step in and say, hey, regardless of what I have going on with my life, like his family, his organizations, his foundations, I'm going to step in to what's going on and I'm going to help out. And that's ultimate gratitude, man. I tip my hat off to Kyrie Irving. That is true appreciation to me. And there's no other way than showing someone that you care by stepping in when something has nothing to do with you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it has nothing to do with him, but just because you have that feeling of empathy, you step in and you play your part.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need more of. And I feel like a lot of athletes are going to follow suit with that. I think a lot of athletes are going to start following suit with their mental health. And if they aren't right, they're going to sit out.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think you may have to put like an injury on the report for them to sit out in the game. Mental health needs to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health needs to be
on that list.
Yeah. I think if players aren't sitting well mentally, they need to take some time. No matter how good of a player you are. And I think the only reason why he got that flack was because he is Kyrie Irving. If it had been anyone else, no one.
If it was,
bro,
Kwame Brown,
it could have been
someone.
Anybody else that missed 11 games. I'm telling you,
you don't think they would have cared?
The media wouldn't have ate it up like this. It wouldn't have been a conversation. It probably would have been a 30-second conversation. Skip, and maybe Shannon Sharp probably would have said something about it, and they would have moved on. They talked about that man missing 11 games for at least a week.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got caught at his sister's birthday party without the mask. And it's terrible that, like, that's why athletes don't leave their house. They don't do stuff because someone took a picture.
It looks bad on paper.
Yeah.
But we don't know
the context.
The context or the background of it. It's not like he was at a strip club.
Right.
Or anything like that.
Right.
He's at his sister's baby shower, birthday party?
Yeah.
Yeah, birthday party.
So, and that's what I'm saying. Like, man, people read too deep into things without knowing the whole entire story.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that draws away from appreciating what an athlete is about and their abilities on the court.
Mm-hmm.
If we are who we say we are and we love the game and we love athletes, love the athletes the way that they are when they up. Kyrie Irving is the second leading scorer on his team. They're 14-12, but you're second to Kevin Durant.
Right.
I think Kevin Durant is like averaging like 29 a game.
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving is averaging 27. He is still pretty much still doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
You should never take anything away from him by what he's doing on the court. Right. Or off the court, I'm sorry.
Right.
Not only is he second in, points per game,
mm-hmm.
he's leading in free throws, like 93%. Field goal percentage, like 53%.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Like, that's great. That's a great shooting percentage. He's shooting from 47%, bro. Come on, man.
I think the question with a lot of this is when players, especially good players, when they have moments like this, or even something that's less serious, like antics or maybe a scandal.
Mm-hmm.
People love to think that their character isn't holistic. And when I say holistic, what does that mean? It means that there's a person you see on the court, on the field or whatever, and then there's a person in their own personal life.
Right.
And to the unknowing eye, these are two different people.
Mm-hmm. But
the optics of it looks like they're the same. So when we see Kyrie Irving, especially the perception of athletes.
Yeah.
The perception of athletes outside the sports world is that they don't have mental health issues because, they're
You getting paid all
big and
this
strong.
money
You
and
get paid all this money. You get to do
whatever you
where your
want.
dream is,
Yeah.
right? There's this perception that they don't face mental health problems. And I think part of that stems from, the stereotype, and this is maybe a shot in the dark here, but the stereotype of the high school jock.
Yeah.
Nobody thinks of them as someone who can be depressed
Right.
or dealing with mental health issues, either at home and in the whatever force they're in or abroad. And I think that's part of the reason why people are so surprised that someone like Kyrie Irving, one of the, again, second best scorer of the Brooklyn Nets, could be possibly dealing with something like this.
Right. And I don't even think it came from anything internal, like his family or whatever,
And those have to be.
I think something happened with another like black man getting gunned down. I think it was like another social injustice thing that had happened recently. I can't remember what it was. I think it was something. And like right after that, he was like, hey guys, I'm not going to be able to make it. Things like that affect us. And I don't think people realize that. People keep it professional, they want the profession and this and that. But sometimes, man, if you don't have the strength, you just don't got it, man. Like if you don't have the strength to think about when you don't have the strength to get out of bed, you don't feel like doing anything. Absolutely nothing. Maybe you just want to watch TV, eat, and go back to bed. You just want to cut yourself off from the world sometimes. I get it. He's in the professional sport. You have to communicate. But man, look, like I said, these guys don't get weekends off and stuff like that or PTO, and they can use PTO and take a couple vacation days and this and that. They can't do that. He's got to stay locked in all day long. That takes a toll. And I think something did happen where he was like, I need to get my mind together. I need to get myself together. And it's just like when you get on an airplane, right? And they say if the airplane goes down and then the mask come down, the first thing you should do is put the mask over yourself for air and then put the mask over someone else. And it just goes back to me saying you can't give what you don't have. You can't help someone out until you help yourself. He can't be what you want him to be on the court until he takes care of himself. That's just what it is. And he's still doing well. Like he took his days. He came back 27 a game, 53 from the field, 47 from three, 93 every time. Pretty much every time you foul him, he's guaranteed to hit both of his free throws. What more do you want from a player like that? Help LeBron get a championship. Like, he legit is solidifying his name as one of the greats. He's a great point guard to me. Like the handles, he's handling well. He's involved, and they have the add-on with James Harden. He has like I think Kyrie Irving is like averaging 5 or 6 assists. That's because James Harden is taking the load.
Yeah.
James Harden 11 assists a game. Everybody was doubting the big three and if it was gonna work. It's working. It's working.
It's gonna be interesting how it's gonna play out, for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And
I think they got
hopefully the postseason.
They got KD on the COVID protocol and stuff right now, but
yeah.
they're doing well to me. They look good as early as it is. Man, look, LeBron went to Miami with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. They didn't win a championship the first year. The media put so much pressure on these guys instead of just appreciating the art on the floor in the moment.
I got another question for you.
Talk to me.
Do you think that the reason why they're doing this, because for me, because you mentioned LeBron going to Miami to win those rings, but he didn't win his first ring the first time he went to Miami.
Yeah, he didn't win his first year when he went.
Is it me, or does this angst from the media feel faster and more intense than years prior?
Like the way that they are putting pressure on athletes.
Yeah.
I feel like it's starting to get more intense.
Yeah. It just feels less forgiving.
Yeah. And I think that what it's starting to do, from what I'm starting to see, is that it's severing the relationship of conversation between media and athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I think Charles Barkley criticized Kevin Durant like heavily. You know, if people are good at, you know, getting a lot of points and this and that on their team, they all of a sudden, everybody's like, okay, well, you can do this. You're great. This and that. Go win a championship. Go beat a championship, or go win a game and this and that. You know, it's not always that easy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and there's so many puzzles and moving parts of a championship rather than just getting your stats up.
And Charles Barkley, I think he criticized Kevin Durant, and you know, it's to the point now where they aren't even retaliating to the media or saying anything back about them. They just not even talking to him no more. So Charles Barkley was asking KD a question or something after like post-game interview, and KD was just one word in him. Because you severed that relationship. Because this guy is a good player. Mm. He's got his championships. He shouldn't have to prove himself as much as as much as the pressure you guys put on him. And I think that goes to what your question was. Like, they are after every athlete who is doing well. They want a championship out of everybody. There's only one team that can win a championship. Only one. Mm. And I'm telling you right now, LeBron has been to the championship at, 9 consecutive times? Bro.
Every single year except one, when he was injured that year.
Bro, I'm telling you, until LeBron retires, he's going to be in the championship. He is going to be there every single time. He's great. Mm-hmm. You can't expect for people to get to the championship, and Bron has really just snatched the championship and said, I am the championship. Mm-hmm. You got to chase Bron. You got to get past him. You know, and even though he's in the West, Kyrie's in the East with KD and James Harden. It's still good players over there. Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
Giannis, he's amazing. Come on, man. Miami Heat. They just lost the championship last year. You think they not coming back for vengeance?
Exactly.
Bro, I don't. It's not as easy as they make it. The league back then when Charles Barkley played, I mean, it was rough. But man, the way the league has evolved, KD is 7 feet tall doing crossovers and pulling up. Kyrie is doing 360 layups. He's the most amazing penetrator I've ever seen.
I don't really understand that statement. You ever like just sit and watch? I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you good.
The statement was like, oh yeah, the 90s were different. Like you wouldn't be able to survive the 90s today. I hate that statement so much. I'm sorry, because it's just like, you ever just sit and watch like Michael Jordan highlight reels?
Yeah,
and you see how easy it is for him to just weave and bob the ball into the hoop. And they talk about how defense during that time was impeccable. I don't think that's true. I fail to see the evidence for that.
They had
some teams, yes.
There were some defensive stoppers.
Yes.
Like there were some defensive stoppers and people who really devoted themselves to their role back then.
Yeah, now, there are exceptions.
That was back then. I think now players are like, yeah, I'm in my role, but I'm just as good as the goodest player on this team. I can put up some shots. I'm just as skilled. The only difference is that it's one small piece right now. Leadership. It's leadership.
And you think that's what teams are missing nowadays?
Teams have their leaders, right? Like Golden State, Steph Curry, right? He's the leader. You know he's the leader. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady. You know he's the leader. It's this respect. I think that now, like, okay, I know I'm just as good, and I need to be able to have a spark when I come off the bench, this and that. I need to show that I am just as good as the goodest player on the team, which is Steph Curry. I need to show that I'm just as good as him, or Kyrie Irving. I need to show I'm just as good as him, and I need to step it up. And that is where I think the league is evolving to now. Like, players are super good. You can't. Back then, it was like you had your good, probably top 10 teams that was good and probably wouldn't lose to the saddest teams. Now, you mess around and pull up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, you could lose.
Yeah.
You think you pull up to the Detroit Pistons and think, yeah, we ain't really got to play. No, you'll lose. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Back then, it was like you had a couple. The sad teams, you knew you wasn't gonna beat.
Yeah.
You know, and like you said, to the Jordan aspect, I think they had stoppers, and I think they even have formulas to stop Jordan. I think Jordan just went to a whole nother level.
I feel like just was during those times, good players were just freaks in nature.
Yeah.
And as opposed to now, they realize they can't do that anymore because everyone's stepping up in some capacity.
Like you said, it's a freak of nature. It was a freak of nature back then. But now it's starting to get saturated. The freaks of nature are starting to come out the woodworks. They coming out of everywhere. Like the rookie, Winston, he's like 7 feet tall. He plays for Golden State. They turning him into a savage early. I mean, he not playing. He's great. He's showing a lot of progress, and they don't even have Klay Thompson, and not even to change the subject from Kyrie Irving, but they look good. But the defense is still there. I think the way that offense has revolutionized is way beyond what it was back then.
Definitely.
You did not have 7 foot players pulling up from 3, pulling up
not
from 40.
That was such a rare sight back then. Now it's happening like all over the place.
You did not see Shaq leave outside of the paint. Come on, man.
Man.
So
Shaq would pull up from 3, and then the whole stadium was just bursting laughter. Like, come on, man, what do you do?
He'll skyhook, and that's as far as he go. I mean, his skill was unbelievable, but he still was a dominant player. You know, right next to Kobe.
Right.
But in his own right, in his own era. But that's why I say, like, the criticism is it's out of hand. And like I said, this is why the 4th spot exists. So moving on. Bradley Beal. Man, oh man. He's underrated to me. He's underrated.
Really?
Yeah, he's underrated. And that's why I want to give him his flowers right now, because a lot of people don't give Bradley Beal the respect that he deserves. That man is putting in work. And in the backcourt, he has Russell Westbrook with him. But that's a good matchup. That's a good lineup for him. Those two, they're 6 and 15 right now. They're trying to figure it out.
It's gonna take some time.
Yeah, well, they just had a trade. John Wall went to the Rockets, and Russ went from the Rockets to the Wizards.
Yeah.
So it's gonna take some time. People can't figure it out in a season, especially in this the manner that this season started. This season started in December. The normal NBA season starting is like October, like on the back end of October, with maybe 2.5, maybe 3 months of rest. Bron them won a championship. They started the season back in 71 days. Lakers won a championship. They started again the next season in 71 days.
I felt too fast.
That was
a blink of an eye.
Bro, that was so fast. I have no idea. I don't even know how they even, and I think they're even going to do an All-Star. All-Star weekend.
It's not coming up.
Yeah, I think it's first week of March. I think first or second week.
Yeah, because it's February.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that was coming up soon.
Yeah, in about a month. But man, look, Bradley Beal is averaging 33 points a game.
I just saw the stats. Like he made 35 points 2 days ago.
Man, he is unbelievable on that court. He is the heart and soul of the Wizards.
And this is kind of part of why I like you doing this concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was looking up his stats, apparently Shaq just put out a statement, or I don't know if this was on
TNT.
Yeah,
probably TNT when they do their post game conversations and stuff.
Commentary or whatever.
Yeah,
he just said he's not a top 5 guard.
See what I'm saying?
And that's kind of, and now that you mention it, a lot of sports commentary is like that. Like, when was the last time you heard? Granted, I love Stephen A. Smith, right? I think he's great.
That's my guy.
I love him. Shannon Sharp, I love him.
I love watching Undisputed with him and Skip.
Exactly, right? But when was the last time you heard, or not the last time, how often do you hear Stephen A. Smith screaming at top of his lungs as opposed to giving someone praise?
I hear him screaming at the top of his lungs more than he's giving praise.
To be honest,
all respect to Stephen A. Like, he's
exactly,
still,
right?
He's still a good sports analyst.
It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch. And sometimes you resonate with his frustration sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's why a lot of people, can I cuss?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people fuck with him.
Yeah.
Because it's a very honest approach to some of the feelings people have about what they just witnessed on the court.
I think the biggest thing I feel with Stephen A., which is why he's always going off,
mm-hmm.
I feel that Stephen A. is big on accountability.
I agree.
He is huge on accountability, and he is. You gotta be stand up. You gotta be a stand up guy if you're gonna take on this role. If you're gonna take on this position, you gotta be a stand up. You gotta be a stand up guy, because I think that is Stephen A.'s nature of him being a man, and that is the essence of what he brings to the table as a sports analyst, which is what I love. I love watching him speak to Max Kellerman, and I love Shannon Sharp too. And sometimes that negativity can create, it gets too consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you see it becomes consistent and it brings ratings, then you know that that's what you need to talk about to have a conversation for people to tune in. And this platform, the 4 Spot, we the underdogs. We the guys that you know,
have to be, because this is the first time I've seen anyone do something like this.
We the underdog. We the underdogs. We the underdogs, man. We need to make sure that there is a balance. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm talking about Bradley Beal, despite being 6-15 and having Russell Westbrook, who's he's probably struggling a little bit, but he'll find his way. He's averaging 19 a game or something. Mm-hmm. But that man deserves his flowers. Mm-hmm. Honestly, just to kind of end it on a good note, that man deserves his flowers. He's doing well. He's going to continue to do well. He seems a little bit frustrated right now, but he's going to find his way. And Russell is too. They're going to figure it out. It's early. It's new. I think Beal has been with the Wizards for a while now. I'm not sure how long he's been with them, but wherever he goes, if he decides to go somewhere, they are going to appreciate him. And that's what we're here to do at the 4 Spot right now, to show our appreciation. So is there anything want to say?
Specifically about Bradley Beal, but more attentive to the greater situation at large here. Look, the antics that these players do when they don't like their situation is not greater than what they put out on the court.
Exactly.
And I think that's the way you're trying to get at here.
It shouldn't be, the demise of an athlete shouldn't be based on what the media puts out.
Yeah.
It should be, the demise should be based on what their own actions do or determines. It shouldn't be based on an interview question and you hearing something that a player says and then you misconstrued it and creating an article to create traction because drama is what people are into these days. Man, look, if we gonna get traction for this platform, it is going to be from the most positive space and the most positive way available. We speaking on facts, we speaking on true stuff with players, and
statistics.
We want to show, to me, I want to show these players that they are supported in the media. They have the 4 spots support. And also, we want to get them on the show. That's I have 2 ultimate goals with this platform, or 3. 1, give them their flowers. That's first and foremost. 2, I want to be able to get into the post-game interview with the players after these players do well. So let's say, like, for example, you said Bradley Beal dropped 35. Instead of asking him all these other penetrating questions or whatever questions that they have, that the media has to ask to create a story, man, I'm going to give you your flowers. I want to be able to tell Bradley Beal the way that he came off a screen, did a step back, pull up, jump shot for 3. That was an amazing move to watch. I'm sure he probably worked on his craft and practice to get that shot down. These shots are probably muscle memory, but the technique is still needs to be worked on, which is why you practice.
Ask a positive question every once in a while. Like, just ask, for example, how did you feel when you finally hit that shot?
Right.
Like, that must have not been easy for you.
Right, exactly. Get some type of positive expansion off of him so that he can go into the next game or the locker room or the next phase in his life feeling good about himself instead of doubting where he should be or if he should be here. Those type of negative thoughts that will affect, to bring it full circle, the mental health. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I want to be able to get into that room. Sometimes I do want to ask questions, but I also want to make sure they know that I'm giving them their flowers while they're still here. I want to tell them how great of a job that they're doing and how proud of we are of them. And lastly, we need to get them in for an interview, man. I want them in here for an interview.
I feel like you're the guy that has the most connections, so if you want to do that, hey.
Yeah.
If we're able to get LeBron in here,
man, it's gonna be monumental.
I want to be there for that.
Yeah. I got some stuff I'm gonna try and get. My goal is right now, as my first interviewee, I know I'm focusing on the NBA right now. It will be mind-blowing if we could get Skylar Diggins in here, a woman, for the second podcast that plays for the WNBA.
For the Sparks, right?
No, she's not with the Sparks. I think she's with Dallas.
What's her team called? I feel bad that I don't know this.
I don't know the team right now either. Let me check really quick. I think WNBA. She's with Phoenix. She's actually with Phoenix. I thought she was with Dallas. She was with Dallas for a short period of time. She's with Phoenix Mercury. So
okay,
I want to get.
Wait, she's from South Bend?
Yeah.
Okay, and I see why.
Yeah, she's from South Bend, Indiana. I am also from South Bend, Indiana. Here's
You are.
a quick story before we go. Her dad and my dad coached us for a River City South Bend basketball team when we were like yay high. So me and Skylar actually played on the same team before. So she's a childhood friend, but she is someone who I want to get in here and have a conversation with because she also deserves flowers while she's still here. And that is something that we're going to save for the next podcast in the future. So that is it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Follow us on Instagram, The Four Spot. Also, we are on Twitter, Spot the Four, and follow us on YouTube. Subscribe. The Four Spot is our YouTube channel. We will be uploading this podcast, but we got some goodies coming on the way too as well. So thank you guys.